Coach, appreciate your time today. Wanted to talk a little bit about your guys here and what you've seen so far in camp. If you want to give us a broad overview, then we'll take some questions. How have the first couple of weeks gone?
It's been a good first couple of weeks. I've been pleased with the growth of our position, growth of our defense, and then overall team as a whole. Year three, I think that's the expectation, is for us to continue to not only grow on the field and in depth and different things like that, but also for us to grow as a program. And I think that the culture we've set, the culture that Coach Freeze has led, has really shown out through camp. Just the energy, the close knit group that we have, and even us as a staff. I think it's very transparent to see those things when you're out at practice. The corners specifically, I'm just really pleased with where we're at right now, and I think year one and year three, you look at it, and the guys that are out there now know the expectations. They know football, what's required of them from what we do from a schematic standpoint, but they also know what we expect of them overall. And so to see guys like Marcus Haskins, Chris Megason, and then a transfer like Deron Lowe to come in and start leading the group, those three guys have really set the standard. But our whole group of guys, we've been a little bit banged up, but our whole group has really taken opportunities, whether it's been vocally or whether it's been through their play, to lead. And, man, you can't be anything but pleased as a coach to see that. And so, that's what we're looking to build on and looking to capitalize on the opportunity that whoever's in there shouldn't be a drop-off. We expect them to be just as good as the guy that was out there before.
John Manson from Sea of Red.
Coach, you mentioned those three, and Chris and Marcus and Deron. Entering your third season, this might be the first time you've had two returning starters coming back. How pleased are you to have that, and then also have a guy like Deron Lowe who's pushing them and can be a starter right alongside those other two?
Well, I think it's been exciting, like you said, because now it's been turnover in that room, just as far as graduation or new faces that have come in. And so to come in with some consistency of guys is always a positive, just because I kind of know what to expect from them. I know what 4 and 7 bring to the table, and I know what buttons to push and how to get them to be where they need to be. But then you bring a guy like Deron in, and I'll be honest with you now, he's special. He's going to be a guy that we're going to lean on heavily. We expect him to kind of lead the charge at times. And so for him to come in and step into that role, but then it also to drive the competitive level of the room. Everybody from Jimmy Fox to Isaiah Avery to the freshman, Amari Williams, everybody's now chomping at the bit. They know what it looks like for the guys to kind of set the standard, and now we're chasing it. And so I'm extremely excited to see that.
Deron Lowe's special. What makes him special?
He's a very high football IQ kid. You got to be able to run at corner. If you can't run, then you're in the wrong spot. So I knew he could do that. He brings a athletic dynamic that is above, a lot of what we've seen up to this point in our program. And so now to see that combined with his football IQ, he's a guy that just very rarely allows plays to be made when he's in coverage. And when I say that, I mean from an offensive standpoint, he puts himself in a position, whether it be coverage-wise or whether it be within just the scheme of the defense, where he's a playmaker, and we expect that from him. So when you get somebody with the IQ side of it that matches the athletic side of it, those are the things that make you special, in my opinion.
Damian from the Newton Advance.
Rickey, you spoke this time last year about Chris Beginson and how things were starting to slow down for him with playing just one position. We saw the growth last year with his ability to at times shut down one side of the field. And what growth have you seen now entering to year 3 with him in this system?
Chris is a little bit more mild-mannered, and so as he's progressed in year 1 and 2, he's just trying to keep getting that dog out of him, right? Getting a little bit of a bite to him. And, man, he's been fun to watch in camp now. I'll be honest with you. He's grown up, and he kind of feels like it's time to seize the moment. I think seize the opportunities that he has, and he's been a guy that's not missed a practice. He's practiced every practice at camp. Where at times he'd be bumped and bruised and banged, and he may say, I'm a little hurt, so maybe I need to take a rep or a session off. The other day he's coming up off of his COVID shot. And usually you feel a little weird after that, and that joker pushed right through it. And really put himself in a position where I just have full trust in him and his ability.
Done.
Coach, looking behind those three, I know Dejon Anthony and Deion Biggins been banged up for you, but provided they can get back and get healthy, where do they line up in your room?
Well, Deion came off of probably the best spring out of the group as far as from a growth standpoint. I came out of spring really high on where he is. It just sucks that he kind of is banged up right now, but has transitioned his way back. And then Dejon is a little bit more of the attitude of the group. You know what I mean? He's a guy that trusts his ability 100%, but he's fully bought into what we've asked him to do. And it was growth for him in the spring being new. And now I think that he's in a position where I know everything that I've seen from him and what to expect from him, what he does well, what he doesn't do well, how he needs to progress. And he's bought into being loyal to what I ask him to do and listening. And so anytime you do that, if you're willing to listen, then that's going to help you a lot. And I think his growth and his ceiling is extremely high at this point as well.
David.
We saw Marion Williams get significant amount of snaps in the open scrimmage on Saturday as a freshman who didn't have the luxury of having the spring practice session. What have you seen out of him through these first couple of weeks of practice? Competitor,
100%. That if you're going to describe Amari and Mo is what, as we call him right now, if you're going to describe him, you're going to describe a competitor. I mean, he competes on every rep. No matter if it's a first-string rep, it's a third-string rep. I mean, he goes out there, he gives it 100%. He's extremely coachable. And, it's funny because the older guys, anytime you got the respect of your peers, that really gets you going. And they respect the heck out of him, They're cheering for him in his reps and, really pushing him because they see that he's not stepped down the competition. He's not afraid of the moment. And so when you see that happen in a young guy, we're not a program that says, okay, well, maybe next year he'll be, ready for that spotlight or limelight. If he's a guy that's willing to step into it and can handle it, he's going to take those reps. And that's where we're comfortable. It had nothing to do with who's banged up or anything like that. We want to see him when it's game day. So that's what you saw last weekend with the reps he received.
Some of the specialty packages and creating things for guys specifically, has anyone stepped up maybe in some nickel situations, or do you kind of have some of those roles mapped out at this point?
Well, I think myself and Coach Curtis, in the back end, we're pretty blessed with the individuals that we have. We got young men that move at a different pace, at a different ability level. Skylar Thomas, Quentin Reese, the guys that are in the corner room, Cedric Stone, those guys are really interchangeable. And we'll cross-train them as well. They'll take reps at corner. They'll take reps at safety and different looks. And so, our thought process is having a role not just for each guy, but for the ability and the athletes that we have in this defense. I think we're able to put ourselves in a position where we're going to be able to capitalize off of that and, the depth as well.
What about Jimmy Fox? I mean, as a guy that, it would have been easy for him to quit or to enter the portal and not come back this season. But what have some of your conversations been like with him, whether during camp or going back to after the bowl game?
Jimmy's maturity has grown exponentially. When I got here, he was a guy that played every game, started every game for us, in a bowl-winning season. And, as you would hope that you would continue to recruit at a high level in a program such as Liberty. We've been in a position where there have been some guys that have been, slightly better at him in some way or shape, form, or fashion. he's come to go to work, and I think now that really just speaks volumes to the relationship that he and I have. We talk about not only what's going on in football, but what's going on with life, what's the next move. But he's done a really good job and had a great camp. And so I've been very pleased with him, and I really feel comfortable that as we rotate through the guys that we practice with, that there's not been a drop-off. And so that's exciting. Now it's about putting it to the test here in 2 weeks.
Is Isaiah Avery sort of in a similar boat? He played a lot for you in your first year here in 19, and then similar role to Jimmy last year, more of a reserve role. And is he sort of in the same boat?
Yes, we've been. So Isaiah's got a nickname. This is 21 Zay. He's not 2019 or 2020 Isaiah. He's been 21 Zay. He's been out there taking reps, making good plays. Our guys have been fired up about it, and I think. Guys, just our team from a whole, when you got something special or you're hoping to build something special, everybody's excited about it. And everybody kind of gets excited about whatever role it is that they're asked to fill. And as much of that we can have, and guys not saying, well, it's about me instead of about we, I think we really have an opportunity to be special. And so Zay is right there along with what I kind of spoke about Jimmy. Those two guys have been here since I've been here. And I think our relationship just extends past, what they're doing from a football standpoint, and they're bought in from that regard.